Hello, hello. It's been a long time since you've seen one of these, hasn't it? Not too long, a couple of weeks, but today it was appropriate because I have to get back to my client. I'm going to be at a meeting here shortly. However, I felt an urgent need, and I don't have my studio set up yet until later on when we go live. But Crypto Talk Radio, found at cryptotalkradio.net, I arguably excel in addressing when concerns come up, and it's clear to me that there's simply a lack of understanding. There's a lack of clarity. People don't seem to get it of how we do and what we do, why we do what we do. I wanted to put a special episode to respond to some of these diehards, and I can clearly tell they're diehards because they're ignoring base fundamentals. More worryingly, they're ignoring the totality of my audio, and it's weird. The SafeMoon diehards have died down because they see that their token crapped down from 330 down to 30, and so it's they didn't come back and give me my credit that, you know what, he said this was going to happen. He said it was going to go pump crazy and then dump and then eventually not recover. They're not giving me my credit. That's okay. Here we are, and we've got LockPay, and it's another group of diehards. And in this case, it's sad because it's almost cult. It's close to cult. They're not quite cult. They're not like Satama yet, but I see them heading this direction, and I want to try to do what I can to get in front of this and see if I can avert what I see as disaster. But in order to do that, I've got to level set and clarify some points for these people because maybe they're new. In fact, many of them are new. Maybe they're new, they don't get it, and how this coverage works and how we're so different from everybody else. First of all, it starts with one word: risk. We assess projects to determine risk. It doesn't matter if you don't agree with the risk because your portfolio is yours. Your only response is to say, yes, we saw the same things. We're gamblers. We decided we're going to go ahead and toss some money in this and see where it goes. Great. Do not come back and say that what I clearly see on their site and in the code is wrong. It cannot be. It is what I see. If they don't want to be perceived that way, the only obligation is for that token project dev, Car Salesman 2.0, to fix what I'm calling out because he doesn't want to be perceived that way. I would love to help him if he's serious and he wants to get a legitimate project out the door. All he has to do is reach out. I already said, if he wants to smoke, any project wants to smoke, they can reach out to us. We are happy to have them on our show, not on theirs, because they don't run the game. They come to our platform, so they can't mute me, they can't block me, they can't filter the questions, and they can't get softballs because we are going to ask the hard questions that serious investors should want to know. So I decided to do another Q&A because I'm a podcast for the people. That's what I do. That's my strength. Arguably, I believe this to be the case. So I am going to go through some of these responses and provide a response. Even though I chime back in comments, it started going crazy. It's the same four people. That's okay. One of them I had to completely mute because he started to be disrespectful. Rule number one of my channel: you will not come at me with disrespect. You will come correct. That rhymes. If you don't come correct, you lose your privilege to chat on my show because that's called moderation. Everything in moderation. Going down the list then, since that person's out of the way. Tim Balderston. Yes, Tim Balderston says, quote, "It's a shame you don't see the value this project brings to investors. All of us have multiplied our investments to date. The limited sales project, the big dumps that allow us all, big or small, to get our returns from sales, but allows the chart to stay healthy. Don't take word on just one YouTube post. Dior, he's a top investor in the world." Let me level set this. I said it in the audio, and I know Tim Balderston didn't listen to the totality of the audio because I broke down factual data you can verify yourself, which is Car Salesman 2.0 was in charge of Metagold. Metagold dumped. So no, he's not a, quote, top investor in the world, because if he's spinning up token projects that fail, you clearly cannot be that good of an investor because obviously you had it wrong when you spun up the project, and thus your credibility is harmed when you spin up another one with flashing buttons and a bunch of garbage coming across as a car salesman in your pitch. If you're truly a top investor in the world, you wouldn't need to get in cryptocurrency in the first place. Now, I responded and just basically pointed people to Meta Bull Run. I want to tell a story real quick. Meta Bull Run was a project ages ago. I want to say November, December. I saw this project. I did coverage on it on the main podcast, not on YouTube. I said, this one looks like it's garbage. It looks like it's going to crap out. I went into their telescam and I tried to warn all of the keyboard warriors in there. I'm seeing these red flags and I don't recommend you YOLO into this and just be careful. It's all I said. And immediately it was as with my episode about kids running the project. I was called a jeet. I was whatever that is. I was called all this garbage and I gracefully bowed out of this. Because Made a Bull Run had a very similar thing. It came with all this sales pitch and all this hype and all this happiness, and it created a cult. And then what happens? It's doing unreasonable pumps like I said it was going to do. And then what happened? It rug pulled. Why? Because it had never fixed the fundamentals. And I'm trying to get people to understand that we need to learn from the mistakes of other projects that have rug pulled people in the past. Well, how do we do that? We look for these fundamental gaps in a new token project, and we challenge that dev to fix them, because you got to think, why would you not want to fix these open risk things? Realizing that this person may not understand what it is I'm looking at, I even went to the extreme. I shared the link to marketmove.ai and their results of the audit. And if you go to this video on this coverage, you can click that link and see what they're telling you. This is a third-party tool that did an audit, and it's straight up telling you that they believe it's a honeypot. I don't care, at my point, what it is. I'm not bought in. I'm trying to help people not get ripped off. If the guy is serious about his project, he should want to address all those bullets. That's all I'm saying. If he doesn't want to address the bullets, that's sketchy. That's risk. That's what I'm trying to educate people. It has nothing to do with whether you ignore the risk or not. That's your right. The point is, it doesn't make the risk go away simply because you don't think it's risky. And I'm not going to allow people to get ripped off if it turns out that it is a scam. If he wants to be treated legitimately, he will fix everything that's on there because he wants to be perceived as legitimate. He will say, you know what, Crypto Talk's right. Leicester's correct. Our site does come across kind of scummy. Let's reach out to him and see what ideas he has on how we streamline the site and look more professional. I'll tell you what, all you got to do is go to Everrise's site and it'll show you what a site's supposed to look like. Go to Luffy. Luffy started as a meme token and their site is 50 times better than what I see of this garbage. So no, I do have a higher standard because there are projects out there that are raising the bar in presentation. So when you come in looking like this one does, I am skeptical, as is my right. You have every right to ignore me. That's the beauty of it. Owen's Channel 5. This person has responded a couple of times, and I like his response. He says, I'm sorry, quote, I'm sorry you feel this way. I'm making great money with LockPay. Great, Owens. I love that. I love that you're making money with LockPay. I didn't say not to buy into it. I said, if you're a gambler, just accept that you're a gambler and you're going to go forward with it, and I will celebrate you for your choice. But I'm going to protect people that are not gamblers, who don't want to be caught in a net of a potential honeypot. And if he's serious, this Car Salesman 2.0, I would like to help him fix what are clear issues in his presentation. But he's got to talk to me, as in come on my show, and I'll talk him through these fundamentals because, Owens, here's the thing. If he's willing to fix the presentation and he's willing to fix the fundamental issues in the code, it can only help all investors make even more money. That's my point to people. Moving on. D. Royals says, quote, join their community and do more research yourself about this project. You're misinformed. D. Royals, whatever that means. When I do coverage, I am reading straight off the site. I detailed exactly what I see on the site. Any basic common sense person can go to the same site and see the same things I'm seeing. What you're talking about is that you don't care. You don't care about the flashing button because you reacted as a gambler and you FOMO'd in and you bought in and you're trying to protect your bag, but you're not bothered by what you see. That's fine. That's you. You are one person out of billions of people. The other billions of people who are not gamblers like you deserve to be protected against scummy behavior. This is 101 of web development. You do not have these flashing garbages like we're AOL back in the 90s. It's not acceptable from a presentation perspective when you want to be taken seriously. His video trying to pitch you and convince you and persuade you is the worst thing you could do for sales because you come across like a car salesman, which is what I said. You are free to say, I saw the same thing he's seeing. He's describing what's on the site. I saw the same thing. It's not going to bother me. I'm a gambler. I'm going to go ahead and put some money in there and take it as I do. Great. I support you for that decision. You have every right to do that. However, there is no such thing as, quote, do some research about the project, because I'm quoting directly off their almost cussed freaking website. So if the website is incorrect, that's a personal problem with the Car Salesman 2.0 that he should fix if you want your project to be taken seriously by serious investors. It has nothing to do with back-end research. I straight told you how to evaluate the code. I even went to the extreme of sharing the link to marketmove.ai, showing the flag results and all the things that are issues. Now, D Royals, you can come back and say you don't care that the owner holds that many tokens. You don't care that the liquidity is a fraction of the total amount of population. You don't care that the owner is sitting on millions and millions of dollars. You don't care that the ownership's not renounced. You don't care that they can change fees, stop trading, and do all this garbage. You don't care. D Royals doesn't care. Great. That's your response to me. Do not come and say, do quote research when I'm reading from their own effing website and I'm reading their own code. If those are in contradict to your understanding, that means Car Salesman 2.0 misled you people, which is what I'm trying to help you avoid. Moving on. Some Awesome Guy 101, and he's responded a couple times, and I did have to mute one of his because he was flat out disrespectful in one of them. I'm not going to quote his whole because he put paragraph, this might even be Car Salesman 2.0, quote, that wallet with 80% is for burns, rebates, and taxes, but because it's made so many people like you uncomfortable, we as a community, yes, community in the AMA, have decided that the 80% will be split up among multiple wallets to reduce that fear. Let me break this down. Number one, it hasn't been split away. Number two, you have to think, he's the developer. Why wouldn't he have had it split from the jump? That means he doesn't know what the F he's doing. You're not supposed to have a single wallet that's doing allegedly all these separate functions. You're using one wallet, the owner wallet, to do burns, which is a function separate from rebase, which doesn't even make any sense because he doesn't describe it as a rebase token. I know it is. Why? Because it's a fork. I'll get to that later. Taxes. Why are you commingling one wallet for all these separate functions? That is the antithesis of what you're supposed to do. That means he doesn't know what he's doing. That creates a risk. It has nothing to do with the fact that I argue, yes, he could dump, but it's worse that he's doing that as the owner wallet. If he had a separate wallet that was not the owner wallet to combine that and he just felt like doing it lazy, fine. And it's locked to where he can't just withdraw, fine. Your problem is you blindly trust this idiot and you don't understand that the fact that the funds are unlocked and in his total control, that creates a risk. You don't see it as a risk because you blindly trust this dude. Just say that. I blindly trust this Car Salesman 2.0. I don't care that he holds unlocked funds and can steal my money. I'm sold off of his sales pitch. I'm sold off of his messaging. Great. You are. I'm talking to everybody else who should be protected against this kind of risky behavior. Ultimately, everybody makes their own decision. As I said in the video, you are free to gamble and FOMO off the candle. I'm just telling you, it is highly risky because one wallet that he controls still has the ability to dump on you. Some Awesome Guy 101 responds and says, oh, well, even though we're going to split it, he still keeps control. Deep. At this point, I recognize that Some Awesome Guy 101 is either the Car Salesman 2.0 himself, which is a strong probability, or he is so much in the bubble. Like, that's the definition of bubble. If you can't understand that giving one person the keys to all the money everybody has is the worst thing you're supposed to do in cryptocurrency, this concept, this project, this person, all of this is the reason so many people are getting ripped off now. This is why the scams happen, because you have people who blindly follow green candles. They don't understand that these are risky behaviors that should not be allowed and we should not support it. And it's not about community decides in the AMA. It is, we need to hold the dev accountable for building it right in the first place. They shouldn't have the risky behavior. We know it's risky behavior. Squid Game. We know that these are problems. So why are we allowing them to keep doing it? This is why scams happen. And for everybody else, this is why I do my show, because my job, my self-imposed job, is to simply inform you these are risky things. Your job is to decide if you're going to accept the risk and go forward. That's great. I will still call out the risky behaviors because they're risky behaviors. It doesn't matter if you ultimately say, I'm okay with the risk. I'm going to put some money in, which goes to my last person, Gregory. That's all it says. Gregory says, quote, the coin itself can't be rugged. The owner technically could sell on the 80% at 1 to 5% a day like everybody else. He couldn't do that in a single day since the algo in the coin itself would prevent it. This is not true. As I said in the video, the owner wallet is the deployer wallet. The deployer wallet has been excluded from the ADM. The owner can dump the whole effing thing whenever he feels like it. Now, if he wants to be treated as credible, he would get all the funds out of the owner wallet, all of them. He holds nothing. He would put them in wallets that are locked away from his grimy hands, ideally all in the liquidity pool, completely locked for the 9 years of all the funds that are available is what he ideally would do. He would then turn the project over to EverOwn so that with EverOwn, he can't make any changes without clearing it with the community, but it's purposely locked at a level that he doesn't control. He would relinquish all of that if we were being honest. Then he can distribute some tokens to himself as kind of a salary as long as it's approved by the community through the EverOwn structure, not just a handshake kind of soft agreement, which is what they have now. If the community's fine with that and they're fine with the Pied Piper thing that's upon them, great. I'm telling you, it's not true what you're saying that, no, the owner's protected by it too. No, it's not. I told you it's not. And I even shared the market move showing you it's not. The owner is the deployer. The deployer is excluded from ADM. The owner can dump the whole damn thing. You got to understand, listen to the totality of what I'm telling you and go to market move and look at it yourself. It's telling you. I'm not making this up, bro. So with Gregory, again, he was at least partially respectful and later said, I decided to go ahead and invest $500 at 3 zeros and 85. Great. I support his desire to go ahead and do that. And he's going to continue to make some profit for however long it lasts. Great. I support you, Gregory, for making the decision. As what I'm wanting from you people is to simply outright say, I'm a gambler. I'm going to go ahead and gamble on this. If I lose, I lose. That's all the acceptable answer I want to hear from you is you are a gambler because of the risks. Don't tell me they're not risks. Tell me that you don't share that the risk is that bad. Tell me that you're going to ignore the risk because you're a gambler. Tell me that the risk doesn't feel that bad to you. Tell me that you've talked to the guy and he sold you on why he's not going to do it and you're going to go that way regardless of the risk. All of that's fine. It's all about you as an individual. That's fine. Don't tell me the risks aren't there because you can see them yourself. And anybody with common sense can look at market move. Market move is straight telling you on its audit, this is likely a honeypot. Beyond that, there's nothing I can do to help folks. So hopefully that's helped people, in my information at least, for LockPay. I've never told anybody that you should not buy it. I said, if I were you, honestly, I would stay far away from this dude. If he wants to be taken serious, and that's the thing. People are getting so triggered when I say those things. If I didn't see red flashing lights all over the project, I wouldn't need to say them. If you built the project correct, I wouldn't need to say them. We've seen so many projects come and go that are flat out scams. And if you build crap like this and you expect me to soft touch you, I don't think so. That's not going to work for me, brother. So here's the thing. If they truly want help to be perceived as legitimate, I can possibly help him. What he has is fundamentally wrong. Right now, the top 10 holders still hold 81% of the total supply. The owner wallet still holds 74% of the total supply. He has not distributed any of this money. He's sitting on $11 million right now. And as the price goes up, that's just going to be more money. The liquidity pool, the main liquidity pool, only has 500,000-ish in there. Yeah, money, BNB. Okay, you have 500,000-ish of dollars, but yet the owner holds $11 million. Why does that make any sense to anybody? Why is the liquidity the vast majority of the money in the owner wallet? Why is that not in the liquidity pool? I want somebody to explain that and no, we use this for the birds and the rebates, No, you guys are just being duped by the car salesman from what I see. If you want to continue to be duped because you see that FOMO green candle, by all means. If you're making profit, by all means. You can choose whatever. It does not remove the risk. The risk is still there. You have made a decision to accept the risk. That is your only response to me, ladies and gentlemen. If you're one of those like me who likes projects that actually have some credibility behind them, then let's talk about it. And if you have further questions about what you see in Market Move or how to read it, I'm happy to help you. I think they do a good job of dumbing it down sufficiently to tell you what they see as the problem. Whether you accept them as problems is then up to you to make a decision. It doesn't change the fact that they're problems. Market Move straight tells you in this case, white letters, to quote, this token is not sellable. It's likely a honeypot. I understand the rebuttal. Well, that's ADM. The ADM is not supposed to block sales. It's supposed to limit sales. So maybe that's what it is. Regardless, I would want to resolve what LockPay issue is in the Market Move audit. And by the way, it's not audited by anything else of any note, of any credibility. All of these are risks. How you perceive the risk is your business, and you can come at me and say, I'm going to go ahead and gamble it. That's all I want from you. accept it. It's a risk that you are accepting the risk and you're going to gamble because that's the only right answer. Do not come and tell me that what I read on their site, what I read in their code is wrong, because you can read it yourself and it's the same thing I'm looking at. So you know it's not wrong. You're just perceiving it differently, and that's your right. Just like it's my right to warn people against Car Salesman 2.0. Again, I can't imagine this. This is the definition of the Pied Piper that I just talked about. Because again, even the car salesman wasn't this, the SafeMoon car salesman wasn't this bad, this blatant, this absolute bogs me to have people come back and just swear that I'm breaking it down, where to go, what to see, all the issues, the fundamental problems, and to have people dissent instead of saying, you know what, I do see market moves flagging this thing. Let me talk to him and find out why it's doing that and when he's going to fix it. These are not investors. They're not. They're FOMOs. That's okay to be a FOMO, but admit you're a FOMO. You're not an investor. If you get ripped off, all I ask is that you come back and give me my credit when I told you this was likely to happen.